This is the Project Review Board meeting for Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. The first item on our agenda tonight is the information exchange, and I will let Caroline take it from here. Could you hear me, Caroline?
Sorry, I heard you. Sorry,
Okay.
I was opening my digital documents. So information exchange, in your electronic packet, you had a copy of a staff approval for Maine Beer Company. They are the first applicant to take advantage of the new standard for seasonal accessory outdoor seating. They're pretty much replicating what they had in years past with seating out front. I believe they're putting up the tent that's less than 1,000 square feet, and it will have to only be allowed in the time period ending October 31st. That's what we had for staff approvals. For projects before the planning board for discussion, they had a workshop with the town engineer to learn about stormwater. I think it was very informative and interesting and important, as there are going to be some changes required to regulations for stormwater. And as we talk about possible development or projects in the village, it's going to be really important with the urban impaired stream. If it's something that the project review board is interested in learning more about, I'd be more than happy to have the town engineer come. There's probably about a half an hour presentation to the planning board. They're also continuing their discussion on cannabis manufacturing and processing and cannabis cultivation. That was at the request of the town council. They had an initial discussion from a request of the town council to look at ways to make our permitting process more efficient. So we've been looking at section 602. If any of the board members want to participate in the conversation, I can encourage you to come to their meetings. They won't be talking about it this month, but I believe they will be talking about it in July. You guys could also look at proposed language together if you want on your next agenda. The timing will work on that. And then they're also in discussion phase of some amendments. They'll be having a public hearing in June on possibly allowing expansions to non-conforming buildings. So for example, if somebody has a structure that doesn't meet a setback outside of the shoreland zone, today they would need to go to the Board of Appeals for one of the variance options to be able to add on, to go straight back or add a second level. So the proposal would be to allow people to add on as long as they don't increase the nonconformity. Again, we allow that in the shoreland zone. Freeport doesn't allow it outside, but we do have people that, want a dormer or add back, and they can't do that without having to go to the Board of Appeals. And that's what the planning board's been up to. The Downtown Vision Plan Task Force, I don't know if maybe Todd or Lynn want to give the board an update as to that first meeting and kind of just generally what they're talking about or what they're doing and who's involved.
Sure, I'll take a stab at that, and Lynn, hop in anytime. So yes, we met last week. For about an hour. It was more or less an intro meeting, orientation, and kind of get an idea of how Daniel Pilch sees this moving forward. They identified, I think, over 100 different action items. Not all are weighted equally, obviously, from the plan that Principal provided, and Dan is trying to get people, different committee members, to sign up and take a lead or be active with them. I'm not sure all of them are going to get signed off on or get picked up, but it's a very volunteer oriented initiative. So we'll see where it goes. Lynn, did you have anything to add?
No, it's a long list. And possibly some of the items can be under a major umbrella like Main Street or Bow Street or the Drive, what's it called? I can't think of the name of it. But at any rate, it'll take some time to figure out what goes in what bucket, I think, and then people are slowly signing up. The volunteers are signing up for specific interests and tasks. That's it.
Okay. Is that it, Caroline?
Yes, and the only other thing I wanted to note for people that might be in the audience or online is that you did have an item on your agenda for the Harris-Seacott Ridge subdivision that was tabled last month. They were going to come back, but the application has been tabled at the request of the applicant, so it's not something that the board will be taking up tonight. That's all I have for updates for you.
Okay, great, thank you. The second item on our agenda tonight is the review of the minutes from the April 27th, 2022 meeting. Are there any comments or edits that need to be made to those minutes? Yes, Lynn?
Yes, I was reading through them and kept seeing a referral to Mrs. Hines. I think that would be me.
Is that you?
Yeah, so for the note takers, I'm not going to point out each one, but where I made a comment, she is referred to me as Mrs. Hines, not Mrs. Hamlin, and that's on page 15, 16, 18, 19, and 24. So she can address that one, and I can leave her my edited copy if that would help. Okay, that's it.
Okay, any other comments, edits?
Sir?
Is there a motion to approve the minutes as edited?
Move they be accepted as presented with the note of corrections by Lynn Hamlin.
Okay, thank you, Ford. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Jim. We'll do a roll call vote. Blanchard, yes. Hamlin?
Yes?
Monteleone?
Yes.
I knew I was going to mess it up. Monteleone? Yes. Reiki?
Yes.
Yes. Yankee?
Yes.
All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. Minutes are approved. The next item on our agenda tonight was that tabled item. So after that is item 4, review of the new items. The first one is Nighthawks Kitchen Design Review Certificate. And in order to kind of stop the back and forth with Zoom, I'm just going to give a quick summary. They are coming before us tonight for a modification to their outdoor seating area. It's been changed to pavers, previously approved as concrete. A new pergola has been installed. A new section of fencing is proposed, made of wood, and they are installing a garden. And the applicant is here if you would like to go over to the microphone and provide any more information to the board.
You kind of covered it pretty well. We were approved for the patio. We were approved for a slightly bigger patio than what's actually going on right now. And then when we had to move those mailboxes, there was a lot of rebar and things, so that had to be removed. And obviously it was just dirt. So I put pavers in, and as I was kind of upgrading things, the landlord was like, you need to go back to the town. So work has been done, but I think it is an improvement, and you can see, I think, in the pictures about what the pavers look like and the pergola that's there. But I have stopped until this meeting. The other things that we would like to do is landscape all around it. It was like prickers before, and we were doing some nice seasonal plants and shrubs. And then finally put a fence around the HVAC unit so that doesn't look so unsightly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Any comments or questions?
Yes, is this largely because the pergola is deemed to be a structure and that wasn't approved previously?
Your guess is as good as mine. I really don't know. I didn't think of it. I'm sure that's probably why. I mean, I don't know. The landlord was just like, it's a structure, so it needs to go in front of the town.
Yeah, it's within design review, and the pergola was not previously approved.
Okay.
Right, Caroline? Yes, nod? Okay,
Yep. Yeah.
thank you. Any other?
I have no questions.
For those online, Todd, any questions, comments?
Nothing here.
Okay, thank you. Are there any members of the public that wish to provide comment on this application? Nobody in this room? Anybody online, Caroline? No?
No.
Okay, great. Do I have a motion?
I'll try. I'm sorry, hold on, let me find it. I can do it, I think. Is it in the back?
Packet. It's going to be in this.
Oh, this one, sorry. No. Do I not have it?
I don't put you right off mine.
Okay. Right here. Yeah, got it. I'd like to propose that be it ordered that the Freeport Project Review Board approve the printed findings of fact and design review certificate Nighthawks Kitchen LLC for alterations to a previously approved outdoor seating area at 200 Lower Main Street, Tax Assessor Map 7, Lot 1, to be built substantially as proposed, application dated 4/26/22, finding that it meets the standards of the Freeport Design Review Ordinance with the following conditions of approval. This approval incorporates by reference all supporting plans that amend the previously approved plans submitted by the applicant and their representatives at Project Review Board meetings and hearings on the subject application to the extent that they are not in conflict with other stated conditions.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Ford. Roll call vote. Blanchard, yes. Hamlin?
Yes.
Montleone?
Yes.
Reiki?
Yes.
Yankee?
Yes.
All right, it's unanimous. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, I don't know, I didn't bring it, I guess.
Okay, the next item on our agenda tonight is the Freeport Historical Society signage. Freeport Historical Society is proposing new and replacement signage, new signposts, new brackets. This is coming before us tonight because as part of the design review ordinance, the administrative review process does not allow for approval of posts or brackets. That's something the board must do. There will be two signposts with 6x6 wood posts covered with composite material, 10 feet in height. Signs made of styrene, and then a large 7-foot by 5-foot sign will be on the back of the new addition. And the applicant is here. If he has anything he would like to add.
I would say no. I think from the photos, you can see that the existing signposts, which have been there for years, bear no relationship to one another in space or in height or anything else, and are at the point that they need to be replaced regardless. So the replacements will be much more substantive because in addition to the 6x6 post, it'll be trimmed out all the way around in 1-inch AZEK, so it'll really be 8x8 with cannonballs that came off of the old porch, and it will actually tie in more to the way the Banana Republic posts look next door, although that's a different sign type. And you can see that one of those posts will be for the tenant in the carriage house. One is for the Historical Society itself. Freeport Oyster Bar's sign already went through administrative review, and you heard about that last month. The only thing I would add about the back sign, which is rather large, but given the size of that facade and the fact that we are trying to attract people's attention from the parking lot, it seemed appropriate. As well as the fact that that is all new material, and so it seemed appropriate to go with the die-bond aluminum in the character of that building.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments for the applicant?
I do, just real quick.
Yep.
Eric, does, right now, I think there's hours of operation when the building is open, the Historical Society is open. Is that right, or am I incorrect on that?
We do have hours. They are posted on the door in one of the divided light windows. They are not on this sign.
Okay, so that's still a plan?
Yes, we would not be planning to add the hours to this sign because we anticipate that they will change over the next year or so, hopefully
Okay.
expand.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Todd. Any other comments from the board, questions? Are there any members of the public that wish to speak on this application that are present in this room?
Could I ask one question?
Oh, sorry, yep.
Is it the photos kind of show a stray, there's a stray, what, pressure-treated 4x4, it appears? That photo, is that what's coming out?
That's what's coming out. Yeah, that's sort of leaning toward the fence. Yes. Yep.
Okay, sorry. Members of the public that wish to comment on the application? Any online, Caroline? No? Did you freeze? Oh, no.
No, sorry, I couldn't get the screen up quick enough.
Okay.
The Vision Committee, group has been talking with the principal group about how our downtown should be look like, what it should look like going forward. And I think this is a really nice example of good signage representative of New England. So I think it's great. Yep.
Thanks. If there are no other comments, then I will entertain a motion,
Oh, do you want me to do it?
if you'd like.
I need your paper. Okay. Proposed motion is, be it ordered that Freeport Project Review Board approve the printed findings of fact and design review certificate for the Freeport Historical Society at 45 Main Street, Tax Assessor Map 11, lots 26, 26A, and 29, to be substantially as proposed, application date dated 5/2/22, finding that it meets the standards of Freeport Design Review Ordinance with the following conditions of approval. 1, this approval incorporates by reference all supporting plans that amend the previously approved plans submitted by the applicant and their representatives at Project Review Board meetings and hearings on the subject application to the extent that they are not in conflict with other stated conditions. Prior to installation, the applicant obtain any applicable permits from the Freeport Codes Enforcement Officer.
Second.
All right, thank you, Lynn. Oh,
Yep.
Thank you, Ford, for the second. Okay, roll call vote. Blanchard, yes. Hamlin?
Yes?
Montleone?
Yes.
Reiki? Yankee?
Yes.
It's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. The next item on our agenda tonight is the CCS Subdivision Amendment, Renee Road, and this is a public hearing. They are proposing an amendment to this previously approved subdivision for particularly Lot 14 to increase the amount of impervious area, and that's due in part to the shape of the lot, and a longer driveway is needed to access the portion where the house would go. This will also require an update to their recording, or update to the recording plan will also require update to their declaration of protective covenants, and you'll see that in the motion that is a stipulation. And you also saw the email from Adam as part of this application, and I lost the screen. Are we okay?
You're all good.
Oh, okay. All right.
Really?
And the applicant's representative is here if you'd like to add anything.
So you know that they're gone?
Hi, Adrienne Fine, representing this project tonight. I don't really have anything to add, but I wanted to, be here if you had any questions, or if there were any questions from anyone from the public.
Okay, great, thanks. Any questions or comments from the board? Yes, Ford.
Adrian, you submitted a kind of a roster of folks consenting, who are lot owners.
Yes.
And I added up the lot owners and the number of lots, and it wasn't the same, but then there's some lots that are in multiple ownership. So my question is, did everyone sign that?
It was the majority of the owners, and then there's a builder who signed separately, who owned, not all, some of the lots are still owned by builders, and that came in separately. So I think we had like 75% of the lot owners signed. And then the original developer also signed, who actually still has control of the project. It hasn't been turned over to the association. So we kind of covered both of our bases.
Thanks. Questions? Yep.
What edits were made to the declaration? So I mean, I didn't see, in looking at it, I didn't see anything that's expressly referencing the permeable square footage.
Yep, so that's not in the declaration, it never was, so there's no revision to that document stating that. The revision to the declaration is to reference the new subdivision plan that will be recorded, because it has a revision date. So that's the update there, and then if we need to update the ownership entity, because right now it's listed as the developer, and depending on the timing, and we're working with legal counsel to determine if that needs to be changed to like the homeowners association name instead of the developer's name before we record that updated version of the document.
Looking back to when this was, I mean, and to clarify, I don't have, I think that this all makes good sense in light of the context of what's being requested. So I think my concern isn't about this lot, but I'm hoping to better understand, why was this originally proposed as a fixed square footage requirement rather than a percentage requirement that we see in other similar
Yep.
contexts?
So the lots are mostly the same size, and they, or had the same like building envelope size. So we set numbers as part of our stormwater calculations. And that was part of our stormwater permit with that was reviewed by the town engineer originally for the project. And when we took those into account, we kind of did a blanket across all the lots and didn't really think about how lot 14 had a wetland crossing that you had to do with the driveway in order to get to the buildable area. So that driveway has to be longer than any of the other lots. So that one's kind of a unique situation where they can't fit within those requirements. So that's why we're asking for the change. But yeah, the percentage wasn't, we just did a number instead of a percentage. It's done both ways.
Right. Can I ask, Caroline, can I ask you a question? Why is this, I mean, given that this is a kind of a one-lot issue, why are we looking, why isn't this going through the variance process instead of requiring the full overhaul of an amended subdivision plan, an amended declaration?
I don't know that it's something the Board of Appeals would have the authority to grant a variance on, and if they did, then it'd still be the issue of the house not complying with the conditions that were listed on the subdivision plan. It really all comes down to stormwater treatment, which is part of the subdivision review process by this board. So although at the end of the day, it's just a note, they did also update their stormwater plan for that lot, and the town engineer did look at it. That's really, I think, the better holistic way to look at it, to make sure that by increasing it, they are still addressing what needs to be addressed. A lot of times, you know, Adrian and I looked at the HOA documents. A lot of times they'll reference the book and page, and then they'll put like a general clause in there, you know, in case it's superseded, you know, in a situation like this. In the case of this development, they haven't, and then for some reason, they're also taking a little bit longer to transition to the HOA. So it seemed like they needed some legal guidance on the best way to amend those given their situation, but you usually don't see the legal docs come back to you very often, since they are private documents. Did that answer your question?
More or less. Thank you.
Speaking of the plans, do we have the revised date for those?
The final revised date? Today.
It's today's date? Okay.
Yep.
It's today, the 18th?
The 18th, yep. Yeah, the final paper copies are right over there.
Yep. So we will sign those at the end of the meeting if we do approve this tonight. Any other questions or comments from the board?
Just, never mind, I think I answered my own question before it
Okay,
came, so.
all right. Todd, any questions, comments? Nope. Okay, we do need to have a public hearing for this change. So is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Thank you, Ford. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, thanks, Todd. We are now in a public meeting. Do any members of the public wish to speak on this application? Yeah, please go up to the microphone.
Thank you. My name is Bob Lothrop, and I live at 38 Wardtown Road, which I believe abuts the property that these folks are talking about. And our concern is the stormwater and drainage. I mean, I don't know a lot about this, but the little research that I was able to do, drainage is the big issue, and stormwater has been brought up a number of times. Our property doesn't drain well, and there are 2 culverts and brooks that lead out to Florida Lake on either side of our property. And our concern is just that this expansion is not going to affect or make our drainage any worse. And with your mention of the wetlands, are you redirecting the driveway around the wetlands? Are you going through the wetlands? I don't know, and I'm not sure exactly how to approach this, but we received the letter, and this is a start for me. So,
Great, we've got the applicant's representative here. She'll be able to answer that question.
okay, all right. So, again, those are our concerns. We don't want any more water in our yard. We can't maintain our yard because of certain things that have happened, and then this has come up, and I don't want this to affect our property anymore either. So, I don't know what to do now. Do you want me to sit down?
I will let
Okay,
the
all right.
applicant-
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Sure, could I ask a follow-up question before we
For the, from the individual. that just-
from the public comment?
Okay, yeah.
Just to understand, is the stormwater issues you're experiencing, are those long-standing issues, or are those new issues?
They actually, they originated last year with some work that was done at the culverts, and I brought it up. I thought this hearing was at last night's town council meeting, so I attended that, and I've emailed our councilman since last night, but they informed me that this was the night to be here for this. So it actually is from some work done on the culverts by the DPW last year, last August. Well, they've started from that, so.
Thank you.
Have you seen the file on this matter?
Not at all. All I've seen is a letter in the mail.
Just for your benefit, is it okay to read Adam's
Sure,
letter?
yeah, go ahead.
Would you rather do
No,
that?
no, you can do it.
Not sure this speaks exactly to your concern, but we have a letter before us from the town engineer, which is short. It reads as follows. I've reviewed the application materials related to the request to increase the maximum allowable impervious area associated with Lot 14. I approve the request as the impact on stormwater is negligible to none. There isn't any need to increase the performance bond. My review time for the application was 1 hour, so I'm not sure that speaks exactly to your concern, but it is what we got from the town engineer.
Well, I appreciate that. My concern is, I just don't want things to get worse. I honestly am following through with the councilman to get things back to the way they were, but I don't want any future actions negating what we're now going to hopefully be working on to rectify what has happened. And that's just a concern that I don't want to make things worse than they've already gotten to be.
All right, understood. We'll let the applicant's representative respond.
Okay, great, thank you.
Provide more information. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. We did study the stormwater, and the original design, when we did the full stormwater report for this project, we had to analyze all the stormwater impacts of everything that was flowing into those wetland systems, and we found what stormwater measures we needed to put in place in order to prevent any increase in flows of stormwater. And so that was done originally in 2018. And so we had peak flow runoff numbers, which is the standard that you look at for stormwater. And that went through the stormwater permitting process with the town engineer. When we came to this project, and we're increasing that by 1,500 square feet, which is a pretty minimal amount of impervious area. And then we restudied the stormwater management that we had done in 2018, and we added those numbers to our models, showed where that stormwater was going to be running off, and found that it wasn't increasing those peak flows at all. And it also doesn't change our stormwater management system, because this stormwater would be treated on the lot itself, not in an overall system that treats the road. So it's not impacting something that was already built for the whole development. It's going to be all contained on this site, and then it'll flow through the woods into the wetlands. And we found that there would be no increase, and we didn't need to upsize any of our on-site culverts, so I wouldn't expect there to be any further downstream implications from this.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments or questions from the public?
If I may ask one more.
Yeah, feel free, please go to the microphone, thank you.
So again, not something that I am used to doing. And I understand I have an issue that is issue A. This is a separate conversation. If issue A gets resolved and we're seeing something that we think may be coming from that side, and I appreciate what you've said, is there any, what would be our process to follow through that we're seeing an increase or a problem? Coming back to you folks or to town council?
Yeah, I'm not sure
And if
that's-
I'm asking inappropriate questions, I do apologize.
Right, I mean, you're asking about process and sort of resolving this issue. I'm not sure that, that necessarily this application is the best way to go about that. This sounds like this might be more of a town issue. I don't know, Caroline, did you have any? Yeah, I see a hand raised. Caroline?
Yeah, sure. If Mr. Lothrop wants to reach out to me or give me his contact information, which he does not need to do on televised meeting, but if he wants to leave it, I'll be happy to connect with Public Works and have them reach out so they can check out and see what's going on if he does think it was due to some culvert work that the town did. And again, Ford did mention, and the review by the town engineer and the water quantity is something that he looks at. So it should not, these changes should not be degrading water quality or increasing water quantity off-site.
I will contact her, and I've already spoken with DPW, and they've said it's 3 to 5 years out. And we're not going, we're going to have a swamp in 3 to 5 years. So, oh, that's
Please
me.
contact me and I'll definitely see what we can do to help you out.
Okay, and what's your last name?
Pelletier.
Okay.
If you want to leave your name and number on a piece of paper with the chairperson, then I'll be happy to reach out to you tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yep. Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak on this application? Are there any members of the public online that wish to speak on this application? That's a no from Caroline?
Sorry, you guys can't see the list in there, can you?
No.
Okay, sorry. No, there's nobody in the audience to speak.
Oh, okay. All right, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All right, thank you, Ford. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Blanchard, yes. Hamlin?
Yes.
Vote to close the public
Close the
hearing.
public hearing, yep.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Montleone?
Yes.
Reiki?
Yes, he didn't pronounce your name right, though, did
Am I messing it up every
first,
time?
so it's-
Yankee?
Yes.
Thank you. What am I saying?
Marleone.
Montleone, oh gosh, I see, I
You
said
had it right.
I know,
You're saying it right.
I said I would butcher it
Hines,
100 times before I
Hamlin.
would get it right. I apologize. Okay, are there any other comments or questions from the board on this application? And if not, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you, Ford.
I'm satisfied that the off-site impact will be negligible based on the letter from the town engineer and the applicant's representative. So my motion is as follows. Be it ordered that the Freeport Project Review Board approve the printed findings of fact and subdivision plan amendment of Steve and Valerie Constantino for an amendment to the previously approved CCS subdivision recording plan pertaining to an increase in the allowable amount of impervious area on Lot 14, Tax Assessor Map 17, Lot 33-14/16, Renee Road. Subdivision recording plan dated 9/24/2018, revised through May 18, 2022, finding that it meets the standards of the Freeport subdivision ordinance with the following conditions of approval. 1, this approval incorporates by reference all supporting plans that amend the previously approved plans submitted by the applicant and his or her representatives at the Project Review Board meetings and hearings on the subject application to the extent that they're not in conflict with other stated conditions. And 2, prior to the applicant applying for a building permit on Lot 14, the applicant to do the following. A, final signed Mylar for recording plan should be recorded in the Cumberland County Registry of Deeds within 90 days of the date upon which the plan is signed. Otherwise, the plan should become null and void. And B, the applicant provide Freeport Planning Department with a copy of the recorded amendment declaration of protective covenants, reservations, restrictions, and common easements of CCS subdivision.
All right, thank you. Is there a second?
And I'll second the motion, but also, just for purpose of discussion, echoing the comments that I'm comfortable with this motion, recognizing the analysis that's been done and the layout of the property showing this lot is really in the heart of this subdivision with independent stormwater management on site, which gives me comfort that we're talking about two different issues.
Thanks, so that's not an amendment to the motion?
It's not an amendment as much
Okay.
as it's.
Just comment, okay,
Explaining my,
thank you.
my second, if you will.
All right, okay, roll call vote, Blanchard, yes, Hamlin?
Yes?
Monteleone,
Yes.
Reiki?
Yes.
Yankee?
Yes.
All right, thank you, it's unanimous. Yep, thank you. And if you want to just drop that off on the table, or if you just want to set it up here, that's fine. Thank you so much. The next item on our agenda tonight is the election of officers for the positions of chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary. Eric, you don't have to stay for this. So I suppose we'll take nominations from the board.
First for president, for chair?
President.
Guy for if the first is chairperson, I would nominate Guy, who has done a good job for the board and the town and the applicants who have come before the board for a 5-year term.
Second?
5 years.
I nominate you for whatever the term is.
So I just want to let everybody know my term ends in March 2023. So I'm happy to be chairperson. I would like a transition period, though. So there may be a time in November or so where I suggest that we elect a new chairperson, but I would be happy to if the board will have me.
I second.
Second, thank you, Len. Caroline, do we need to do a roll call vote on this?
That'd be lovely.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for chairperson? I nominate Ford Reiki. He's declined. Okay.
Oh, I didn't hear a decline.
No, I'm good.
I thought the exhale was the decline. Okay, let's keep moving. I'll do a roll call vote. Blanchard, yes. Hamlin?
Yes?
Monteleone?
Yes.
Reiki?
Yes.
Yankee?
Yes.
Okay, great. The next position is the vice chairperson. I nominate Todd Yankee.
Second?
I got a second from Len first, I think. Todd, how do you feel about that?
Those are big shoes to fill.
I don't think so. I think you can handle that.
That's what happens when you're not here.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you.
Any other nominations for vice chairperson? Does there a motion? I suppose we should, or do I guess we already seconded? Yeah, so,
Any second it?
and he didn't decline, so I guess we'll take a roll call vote. Blanchard, yes. Hamlin?
Yes.
Montleone?
Yes.
Reiki? Yankee?
Yes.
Great, it's unanimous. The last position is the secretary. Any thoughts? Any volunteers?
I think Linda has the next.
Linda's been on the board the next longest, I suppose.
One more person who's not here gets,
She's not
gets the
here.
gets the prize. I nominate Linda.
Linda?
Yeah, sure.
Second, Ford seconds, okay. Well, we'll do a roll call vote on that. Blanchard, yes. Hamlin?
Yes.
Montleone?
Yes.
Reiki? Yankee?
Yes.
All right, unanimous. Great. The next item on our agenda tonight are persons wishing to address the board on non-agenda items. Do we have any members of the public that wish to address the board on a non-agenda item? Nope. Do any members of the board have any comments, questions? Caroline, anything to add?
I forgot to mention at the beginning, I'm trying to reschedule the town attorney for before the next meeting, a 5 to 6:30, and then we could potentially start the meeting at 6:30. I'm still waiting to hear back.
Okay. Thanks. Any other comments? Nothing from the board? Okay.
Move we adjourn.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Roll call vote. Blanchard, yes. Hamlin?
Yes.
Montleone?
Yes.
Reiki?
Yes.
Yankee?
Yes.
All right, we're adjourned.
Night, Carolyn.
Carolyn?
Recording
Night, John Boy.
Ford,
Yes.
just want to know how Guy did for timing.
He didn't make it.
How long
He didn't
the
make it. He
meeting
started the meeting 10 minutes late, and it was still 40 minutes, so.
You held the records.
Yeah, I hold the record. See you guys.
Please sign the
Thanks, guys.
Good night.
Don't forget to sign the Mylar.